Persperity. In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we will take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Oh yeah, mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Trauma whispers, but love will shout. In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore the depths of pain and grace, finding strength in every embrace. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Take a breath and join the ride. Together we'll walk side by side with open hearts and open minds. In this podcast space, true peace we'll find. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma.
Hello, everybody. Before I get into this introduction, Dr. Byrd, did you get the opportunity to send that link out to whoever you needed to send it out to?
I did. I
Awesome.
did.
Okay, everybody. Welcome back to Persperity Podcast. Today's episode is titled From Page to Podium, using your voice to ignite a movement. We are diving deep into what it means to take your personal story and your written words and transform them into a platform for change. Joining us today is a woman who embodies this journey, the incredible Dr. Angel Byrd. She is a leader who understands that when we find the courage to speak our truth, we give others permission to do the same. Before we get started, please take a moment to head over to YouTube, search for Persperity Podcast at Persperity, and hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell as well. Don't forget to share this episode with someone who is ready to find their voice and start their own movement. Dr. Byrd, welcome to Persperity Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we get into these questions, anything you want to share, talk about your business or anything?
Oh, business. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me. And then second of all, I have several. So I'll just talk about one that's dear to my heart that's going to be coming up in June.
Okay.
And that is Pages of Her. And that is kind of similar to what your show is all about, where we come and we talk and we share our stories and things like that. So this is a big movement. It's going to be national, and women will come from all over the world, and you must wear pink and orange pajamas. You're not allowed in without them. And so when you come in, you're having all this fun, and then we enter into a sacred space and women share their stories. And it's a beautiful time to meet. And it's going to be June the 26th, 2026.
Okay.
And they can go to the website and get all the information, and that's pagesofher.com.
Let me drop that in there. Pagesofher.com. Gotcha. At PAGESOFHER.com.
Yes, Pages of Her.
Got it. Just dropped it in the comment section.
Okay, cool.
All right. Shout out to you. I do you know who that is? My godmom, Rashana Freeman, said, "Hi, Angel." Hugs.
Okay. Is that Rashana?
All right. And don't be afraid. Anybody that's viewing, was watching, if you're having technical difficulties with commenting, it's because you're not logged into your YouTube. So go log into your YouTube if you're wanting to comment or even ask a question. And Miss Dr. Byrd and I, we both see those on the screen. So, all right. Are you ready to get into some of these questions?
I am. I'm so ready.
Okay. First question is, the title of this episode is From Page to Podium. What was the exact moment you realized your private writings, your pages, were meant to become a public podium for change?
Pretty much my whole life. But when it became public, it's when we started a marriage ministry way many years before we started the ministry. And so I've pretty much been out in the public for a long time because we also had um, the Million Marriage Picnic, which is national and is trademarked. So it's always been something big. And so, regardless if there is a church, regardless if there's a marriage ministry, regardless of what, it's always been public. And so it's been my life. And so, but I've enjoyed it because I was born relational. So it's just right up my alley.
I love that. Love that. Okay. All right. Next question. Many people have a story, but not everyone starts a movement. What is the fuel behind your voice that keeps you going when the work gets difficult?
I think not to quit was put in me as a child. And so growing up in Compton, California, I mean, how can you quit there? You know what I'm saying? Like they say, what good can come out of Nazareth? The same thing, what good comes out of Compton? And so it just gave me the fuel that I needed to have a driving force where nothing, no, it's not an option for me, and it's never been one. And so it's like I'm the oldest of 9 children. And so I've always been in charge and always telling people what to do. And so it's just a part of my DNA. And so it just comes along with the territory and the gift that God has given me to lead and to be able to be strategic doing so. And so it started way back when, but now it's just progressing.
I love that. Very, very well said. All right, transition to another question. Your business, Pages of Her, has such a beautiful name. What is the core mission behind the brand, and how does it help women reclaim their own narrative?
Because as I journeyed throughout this life based on my personality, stature, all of the above, judgment was such a harsh thing that people will judge you without ever having a conversation with you. And it was very painful in my early 20s, and or no, let's say before that. And so as I walked this journey, it was so much misunderstanding and so much judgment that we do to each other, especially as women. And so I took my pain from all of that and turned it into a mission, a story, a place for women to come to have a safe space to be able to share their story without judgment and shame. And so that's kind of how it got going because of my life, my experience of the pain and the rejection and all of those things that I walked through. And so now I don't want no woman on planet Earth to ever have to experience something like that. So I decided that I would create a space for it. And I don't mean like how we say, oh, let's get together as women. I am so driven to create something so pure in the earth when it comes to women that when you say I got your back, you really mean it. Not this facade we do. You know how soon as we walk out each other's presence, we running each other down or saying something crazy. No, the mission I'm on is to get rid of that thing. That when you walk out, you can feel safe that no one is saying nothing else about you. And so that's the space that I've created.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. You
Yeah.
said something that made me that came to mind to me that is not a
Mhm.
question I have here. A
Okay.
lot of times when us as human beings that we go through things, a lot of things that we create and that we do are motivated behind the things that we struggle with ourselves. How do we
Hmm.
not place ourselves into making that be an agenda about ourselves rather than about the people? How do we not make that happen?
Well, when you make it happen about you, you've already lost the mission. And everybody who's a part of it would know it. That's something that you can't hide. And
Mhm.
if you're driven by the kingdom and by God, it should never be about you. I teach a discipleship class and it echoes in their ears constantly. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. And the moment that you make it about you, you've already aborted the process.
That part.
So that part, right? And so if you keep your eyes on the people in the mission and see people through the eyes of Jesus, then you can't get off track.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I got some more questions that I had on here that's connected to that, but I ain't
Okay.
gonna go too deep in that because I know that we gonna get in that. Yeah.
Okay.
The next
Okay.
question: how do you balance the vulnerability of sharing your story with the authority needed to lead a movement?
Because I'm no longer ashamed of my story. And people cannot create a movement when they're afraid or embarrassed to say where they come from. I'm not. My story is my story, and no one can destroy me with my own story.
Yeah.
And so when you realize that, then where's the shame?
Mhm.
You should be able to share every detail of it without feeling like someone else can use it against you. And that's been the problem. And that's why I have a space for them no longer to have to do that. Yeah.
That's really good because I know way too many people, black women, black men, just us as a race that
Hmm.
struggle with the fact of it's none of no one's business. And I get it. That is the worldly race concept of the way we think. But
Hmm.
how God placed it to me was is that when we go through things, our
Hmm.
testimony is a gift to other people to lead them to God, to win their soul
Hmm.
back to Christ, for them to know that
Hmm.
you will overcome and
Yeah.
share your story and be a blessing. It's not about people being up in your business, because then again, you're
Yeah.
starting to worry about other people where, rather than
Mhm.
worry about what God says.
Yeah, because what people have to understand when I always tell people secrets kill. So when you hold it in, you may deal with mental illness. When you hold it in, people become drug addicts, alcoholics, sexual addictions, all of these things because they're trying to fill the void and get rid of the pain because they
Mhm.
never let it out. And I always tell, because I'm also a marriage and family therapist, so I let people know your secrets and whatever you don't deal with is going to deal with you. And so you can keep it a secret and you can keep walking around here with your mask on and you can keep pretending, but eventually it's going to show up. Even in the book of Luke 12, it says whatever you conceal, eventually it will be exposed. So why won't you just get free and tell your story instead of always trying to hide it in? It may come through anger, it may come through all kind of things, but it's in there and you must get the healing that you need. And how do you do that? You have to first start saying something.
That's really good. Have
Yeah.
you saw challenges in the older generation, Gen X, or the generation older than that? Have you seen the struggles of them being able to share their testimony opposed to the people that are younger?
They are still taking it to the grave.
Talk
And it's
about it.
so sad because God intended for you to be free on this side. I'm not looking for freedom on the other side. It's already a guarantee. I want to feel the freedom in all of that I'm supposed to experience on this side of life. And they are taking this stuff to the grave, and then they're teaching a generation to do the same thing. What goes on in this house stays in this house. And I always say, how is that working out for you? You know, if I am so serious, like if someone was to touch me or do something right, whatever, there's nothing you can do to convince me that you're going to kill me or harm me. I'm willing to take that chance to snitch on you. Do you see? And it's like that's what I want to ingrain in this younger generation and anybody that I have sphere of influence, because I'd rather die than to keep a secret that you harmed me.
Mhm.
And so that's the thing that plays, oh my God, the guilt. What happens if I tell on my father or tell on my uncle or tell on this person? What needs to happen? You see, and that's the thing that we got to get over, is trying to keep and protect people who are destroying us. And that should not be. And so anybody that I talk to, they're gonna know that.
That's
Yeah,
good. Like
yeah.
the people that feel like the trauma they gone through are
Mm-hmm.
not as big as other people's trauma. Like, we talk about the sexual abuse trauma, we talk about the domestic violence trauma, but we don't talk enough about the emotional abuse trauma,
Mm-hmm.
or growing up in a household with a
Mm-hmm.
parent or parents or siblings or whatever, and then you guys don't, the dynamics is good, but you're not able to, you know, um connect or whatever that is. Been in households
Mm-hmm.
like that, or been in a household where one, your sibling is is more preferred than you are, or
Mm-hmm.
not growing up, not having a father or a mother. Like those are, traumatic experiences as well, that
Mm-hmm.
as people grow up, they carry that, and it makes them
Mm-hmm.
be not want to be fathers, not want to be mothers, or better yet, they're
Mm-hmm.
mothers or fathers now, and then it's a complete wreck.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question that you're asking, was that a question or you're
Well, it was
making a
a statement, but it
statement?
was a question too. Like,
Okay.
for that, like for the people that feel like that's not trauma, because we talk so much about the big trauma, we like
Mm-hmm.
the over the top like trauma,
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
miss the people that have gone through those levels of trauma
Mm-hmm.
and how it affects them. Sometimes their behavior looks like they've gone through the next level of trauma of sexual
Mm-hmm.
abuse, domestic violence, and
Okay.
all of that.
I
But
see
in
what you're saying.
reality, they've gone through a lot of emotional abuse and neglect. How do
Yeah.
you like that their story matters too?
So who determines what's bigger and what's smaller? Because trauma is trauma. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of trauma causes mental illness.
Hmm.
Whether it's my mama didn't talk much, she never said I loved you, or Uncle Johnny touched me. It all
Hmm.
has an outcome because it was never intended for us to live a life like that. We were supposed to receive love, and we were supposed to be connected to God. And since we wasn't connected to God, then anything that I always tell people, anybody that's outside of God, their life looks different. So if I had a mother or a father who didn't know God, there was trauma. There's no way around that. Because who are you listening to and how are you parenting if God is not your source? That means you made it up and it's going to be flawed. So it's impossible for somebody not to have trauma. Do
Wow.
you see? No matter what, because anybody who is outside of God is going to do it wrong. They can
But
have a Harvard degree. They can be the most educated person on planet Earth, and they gonna mess it up some shape, form, or fashion. Because when you don't connect me to God, I don't have an identity,
that's good. What
and
about
we're walking around here with no identities, making them up ourselves.
that part? But what do you think about those people that weaponize the Bible and God to carry out their own thoughts and mission?
Anybody that can weaponize the Bible, there to me, you can't even be a believer because you're totally changing the doctrine. And the Bible says anyone who add to or take away from it will be judged. And so if you can present love to people and show them God's identity and his love and his purpose for their lives, you've already messed up. Because most people in churches are connecting people to them versus connecting them to God. And
That's
that's the problem. And people think people are their people. I am just stewarding what God has given me influence to steward. Nobody belongs to me. They all belong to God. And so that's where we get it twisted at. And that's when people get hurt, when you think something belongs to you.
wow.
You see, even parenting, God has blessed you to steward those children. They are not yours. And so every time we think something belongs to us, there is always going to be some type of abuse
Mm.
involved.
Ooh, elaborate on that, please.
Because the moment you remove God from a thing, then you create what you think it should be. And everybody is not the same. And I can't go into this trying to give you my opinion. God told me a long time ago, my opinion don't count. The only thing that counts is the word of God. If it's not fact and it's not true and it doesn't line up, then I made it up.
Yeah.
And most opinions are made up. It's based on a feeling and an emotion. And so when we're dealing with things like that, you're always going to hurt somebody along the way. That's why we hear church hurt, all these different things that happen throughout life. And some
Mm.
stuff is just people are emotionally broken and how you transmit. I can say love and you will hear it hate based on your level of emotional trauma. Do you see? And so we're not saying all of it. All people who say church hurt ain't church hurt. It's I haven't dealt with my stuff. You see? And so I don't allow people to put me in those kind of boxes. You see? And it's like, no, the scriptures, if you give them biblical truth and you connect them to God, that's your part. Not
Mhm.
trying to control their life, run their lives, tell them when to come, when to go, what they should be doing. That's not our part. You see, and we get way too involved.
That part. And it's people too, because I've seen a lot of people that try to, it's a difference between encouraging people to have a relationship with God and then trying
Mm-hmm.
to force them and control them on what that
Mm-hmm.
relationship looks like. We all have a walk with Christ ourselves, rather
Mm-hmm.
than, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like it's like you got to be ready to accept the things that are needed to be accepted, whether that's dealing with your hurt, your pain, your trauma, rejection, and whatever that is, or even things that didn't go well. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
journey for you to walk, not for someone to tell you how to walk it and what that may look like. And I feel like a
Okay.
lot of well,
Go
go ahead.
ahead. No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I just feel like a lot of people, they're very forceful with,
Mm-hmm.
God. And God, to me, he's not a forceful God. He's not a God that's gonna say, let me just shove this down your throat. No, he's a gentle, patient, loving, and caring God. And as he
Yeah.
wants
Echo, echo, echo that again. Echo.
loving, patient, caring. Like that's what he is. Like he wants us to desire that relationship with him that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't involve people influencing what that looks like. Because then it's not a my relationship with him; it's a our relationship. But then it's a let me go ahead and get your opinion before I go talk to God. No, have
Mm-hmm.
that relationship with God where it's you and him. But if you want to bring somebody else, then it's y'all. But independently, you have that. That's a
Yeah.
relationship with you and him, not a
Yeah.
let me do all this other different things of quote unquote because somebody else is doing it. And I feel like it's an
Yeah.
influence now of people wanting a relationship similar to what other people have, or people telling people, you see the relationship I have, you need to have that too. Not the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I need to have a relationship, but don't tell me you need to look like yours. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. And I really think that was like our generation and older,
Mhm.
because your generation ain't having it. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like our generation was able to be indoctrinated for that to happen, but this new generation, they're not going for it, and so it's not in the even in the same arena. But I will say that a lot of things are self-taught and borrowed behavior. And so when you borrow other people's behavior on how they used to do it, it's like almost like generational. They did it this way, so we do it this way. They did it like this at the church, so we do it like this at the church. This is how my mama raised me, so now you have children, you're going to do it the same. If you do it the same, you may destroy your daughter. You see? And so every relationship should look like what the Bible says, not like what I say.
Mhm.
And Jesus made a clear example of what it should look like when he even talked to Nicodemus and the rich young ruler. You never seen him force them to walk with him.
Mhm.
And if God gave us a free will to serve him to choose, then I think sometimes humans get it confused where they think that they can take God's role and do something God wouldn't even do. God's not going to make you serve him, so how can a human do it? I ask that question all the time. God will not force me to even go to heaven. He'll love me all the way to hell if that's where I choose. But you somehow think that you have the ability to make me and to control me to do so. And that's where a lot of pain and stuff happen, whether family, marriage, church, wherever it comes from, it's still the same outcome because people don't understand that we have a right to choose.
We do. I tend to like along my journey, this conversation is really good. Okay, let me get into these comments. I'm sorry. Joy says, hey girl, hey, excited for Pages of Her, can't wait. Michelle Rawls says this is good. Savage by Grace, Healed by Love says this is really good. China 41, that's such a great point. China 41 again, you are speaking truth. Shout out Nina. Um, it's so good. D Joanna Lee, that's so true. Myasia Harris, that's so good. Shout out to you for commenting. So,
I'm
like, yeah,
trying to focus. Thank you.
but yeah, like this is a really good conversation because it's like that it's the beginning of the year. People got
Uh-huh.
their new year, new me. They got their goals. They got the things
Mm-hmm.
that they want to get better in, and a lot of those things are how can I have a better relationship with God? What does
Mm-hmm.
that look like? And they're so easily influenced on where they could go when you're vulnerable. Like a lot of people don't talk about the vulnerability of when you're ready for their relationship with God,
Mm-hmm.
what that may look like, and the influence that you can have. You can be a little docile, You know,
Mm-hmm.
because you're tender,
Mm-hmm.
you're open.
You're new, you're fresh. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's easy
And
for somebody to sway you somewhere, and that's where that church
mm-hmm.
hurt really do come in. Because then you go to a church, or you may
Mm-hmm.
have been a member at a church for a long time, and then you're realizing that you need to have a deep relationship, and then you'll start being awakened to certain things. Could you
Yeah.
elaborate on the awakening that happens when people have that relationship with God? To go into that.
I think sometimes when people really get a relationship for themselves, once again, the whole judgment kicks in because now they become opposing, the opposite, a rebel. You can name, we can go down the list of what you will become when you get to hear from God for yourself. And so you just have to be careful and you have to cherish your relationship with God so strong and hear his voice over others. Yes, is there leadership in place? Is there a hierarchy? Is all of those things that are set in place that happens, whether mother, child, husband being the head of a household, a pastor leading a church, those things matter, but not in the place of I get to control your life. And I get to make you do your life the way I see your life should go. And that's where we're getting off at. And so in leadership, you have to really be careful because if you're not whole, you will lead these people down a place that is so unhealthy because you're so broken and you're trying to get something from this thing. You see, a lot of times people start something because they're so insecure, because this is going to make them be bigger and greater, right? And it's like when they show up that way, that's how they're going to lead. And so you have to be careful. And it does matter who you follow, who you marry, who you have kids with, all that kind of stuff matters because it's all going to come out eventually. And if we've been I don't know your story, but my story, all I know is I can't afford not to serve God.
Same.
You see, I can't afford not to because I know where I come from and I know what I would do without God. And so I serve him without looking back. And I serve him with complete surrender because what's the purpose is doing it halfway. You're the only one that is doing it halfway because God is him or nothing. And it's like people don't get that. It's not like I can double dutch.
Yeah.
We've been tricked into believing that you can live a double life, and you cannot. You're the only one deceived to think that it's working that way. It's okay to tell the truth and say what the Bible say, and people don't have to receive that part of it. But it becomes a problem when I try to make you do it.
That part.
You
That
see, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like if you practice sin, you're not gonna be with God. You can't live a double life. You can't do these things. And I'm not here for rules because me helping you change behavior don't make you closer to God.
Say it
The-
again.
Me helping you change your behavior doesn't connect you to God. And that's where all those rules come in. How about I introduce you to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords and help you fall in love with him? And then the things that you do will fall off. Instead of me introducing the rules that you would try to live up to for such a point in time, but you really don't got the love and really got the connection. So you're going to fall off. You see, we go about it backwards. As soon as people come in, this is not what we do. This is how you do it. Don't say that. It is like that doesn't work. That's why we have so many churches full of people who are
Mhm.
not connected to God. And some of them you cannot even tell the difference between them and people who are just as ugly and mean in the world.
And people starting to walk around and look like the same people and act like
The
the same people.
same people. So what is that saying to me? It's just like, why aren't you connected after
It's
20 years? Why are you still that same person? It was a foundation breach.
mhm.
You see, something wasn't, discipleship doesn't happen anymore.
This is how I look at it. Sometimes we can be connected to people, places, things, no matter what that look like, whatever relationship that may be.
Mm-hmm,
And we carry so much hurt and pain
mm-hmm,
towards people that I feel
mm-hmm,
like sometimes influences our relationship with God, whether that's to be distant or whether that
mm-hmm,
is to be lukewarm or not to have the
mm-hmm,
relationship at all. Sometimes
mm-hmm,
the very people that are sitting in our face that's telling us about a relationship with God are the very persons or people that have hurt
Mhm.
us and tore us down. And we
Yeah.
just instead of worshiping God, we worshiping them, and
Hmm.
we're waiting for them to just be like, okay, what we do next? What do I do next? That's not relationship with God. That is your trauma trying to attach itself to somebody. That is
Yeah.
you trying to do
Mother,
your
father wounds. Mother, father wounds. That's what they are called.
talk about it.
Because you notice when a woman shows up and she has such mother wounds, she's trying to attach to something like a mother figure.
Mm,
But they don't understand when they show up that way, they show up and become the abusive one because they can't even receive the love. And people don't talk about that. We only talk about the church hurt. We don't
yeah,
talk about when that person comes in with these wounds and they're so wounded. When you try to love them, the pushback and the rejection from it because they have these walls up and they're trying to protect themselves
yeah,
out of fear and out of, all of those things. But at the same time, you still need to be able to be loved.
yeah,
And then I always say when someone's somewhere and they fall out of unquote of love with God, or they're not serving God no more because of another human, they were never worshiping God. They were only worshiping man. Because there should not be anything that ever happened in a church, in a family, or anything that will cause me to walk away from God. That means I had the wrong relationship. And people are not talking about that. I see people say, oh, that pastor, I trusted him with my life, and now he has a scandal. I'm done with God. I'm done with church. You were serving the wrong person was your God. And that lets you know the mirror comes down to expose where you were in your relationship with God, because that should never be. No matter what I go through, my relationship with God should never be breached by a human,
wow,
ever. And I want people, whoever's listening, I need you to really hear that, because when you start saying, I'm done, I don't want to go to church, I don't want to do all those things, find a place where you can go. And you're not there to trust the people. You're there to hear and trust the God people, the God in the people, not the person. And that's what I always tell people. You walk in this thing, putting all your trust in the human who have the ability to let you down when your number one goal is trust the Father. And
mhm,
when, like Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. When you don't see them following Christ, then stop following them. But we'll stay in a bad situation for 100 years, knowing that what you saying ain't right.
I want to talk about something because you talk about marriage. You talk a little
Mhm,
bit about marriage as well, and I do have questions
mhm,
about that. But in that, a person that has gone through trauma in traumatic circumstances, how often have you seen that show up in marriages? You know, I'm a trauma survivor, and I do the
mhm,
work. I do the work
mhm,
because when I get
mhm.
married, I don't want to be in a place where I have my husband is just like next level, like, oh my gosh, she's too much. Like I'm doing the
Yeah.
work. But how often do you see, husbands that have gone through a lot of challenges, and they're struggling to be present in their marriage, or wives that have gone through hurt, pain, and trauma or whatever, and they don't realize it or whatever, but it's affecting their marriage, whether they know it or not.
I've been doing marriage counseling for over 27 years, and I've never seen a marriage that people come from a place of trauma that it did not show up in their marriage. I've never, because that's the closest person to you, and that is going to be the one to bring it out the most. And so I tell people in premarital counseling, don't be in a rush to say I do, because when you say I do, that's for the rest of your life. So work on months, years, or whatever it takes to become somewhat whole, because we all are on a journey. There's just always something, but get as whole as possible and be able to admit where you are, what you've been through, and how you act. You see, most people are never going to admit how they act. And then it shows up. Soon as you get married, soon as the honeymoon is over, it's going to show up. When I got married at 23, I had been saved for probably less than 2 months, and it showed up. The things that I saw at home and the things I saw in my family, it showed up, and so, but when it did show up, as I grew in Christ, I knew that that was going to have to be something, if you're going to stay married, that you got to work on. So it's always work being done. And so anybody that goes into a marriage still believing that it's the tulips and it's the white picket fence and he's coming home with the briefcase and everything's going to be perfect, don't get married. It's probably one of the hardest things and the hardest work to do, is to dwell with another human who is completely different than you. And people are not telling people that. It's just like, let's have a couple of sessions of some marriage counseling and let's go ahead and get you married. When we do marriage counseling, we're not talking about who's going to pay the bills, who's going to take care of the kids, who's going to do any of those things. Let's talk about where you come from and your history, because I don't believe that marriage problems exist. I only believe that there's history problems.
Wow.
And if you don't have a history problem, you won't have a marriage problem. You didn't marry Mike, you married history. And that's where people don't understand why they're walking down in their beautiful gown to the altar. They don't understand that they're walking to someone's history, and it's all going to be exposed eventually. And so, yeah, people funny.
I love marriage talk.
You go there, people go, whoa.
Wow. 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 Like, what would you say to the people that are married that have been possibly struggling with their own traumas, that have been married for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 40, 50, whatever, that are still dealing with themselves?
If you don't do the work, you're going to deal. And it's never too late to get help. And quit hiding if you want to stay married, and get the help that you need. You can't not trust everybody in the world. It has to be somebody you can trust. And even if you don't trust them, at least start the journey of help. Because the longer that you push it off, is the longer that you're going to have to go through the hell that you're going through. When there's help out there, there's resources out there, there's help, people out there that can help navigate. It can be so big to you, and then you come to counseling and realize it wasn't as big as you thought it was. You just needed some direction. I saw your face. What's your face doing?
Because I started thinking about stuff, because it's about, like, I was telling somebody the other day, I told them, I was like, a relationship with God it's a commitment. It's something that you really got to be ready for. It's gonna open up, just like like people telling people to go to therapy. I'm just like, look, you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready to face that, whatever
Your
that
pain
says to you, the pain, and whatever they say, you got to be ready to face that. And people be like, I don't want to deal with the pain. I don't want to feel those feelings. No, the feelings gonna mess you up, but it's gonna mess you up even more is that counselor is gonna start helping you unpack who did what and why they did it, and you're gonna be sitting there in disgusting pain and hurt. And the people in your life that have encouraged you to go into therapy and do all of that, they got to be ready that the tables is gonna turn and you're gonna be the problem, and they're gonna have to understand that. And they got to realize that you're gonna have to realize that while you was hyping them up, that you was the problem, that you caused you caused the pain, you caused all of that. That's why I say, don't awaken somebody in trauma. It's like waking a sleepy bear. Do not waken that sleepy bear. Not ready to deal with what that bear gonna do when he wake up. Like
I told a friend of mine, I said, they were doing some kind of event, and they said, I'm gonna bring up sexual assault and abuse. And I said, that's not the place for it, because you can't close it up. You don't, you first of all, you're not a therapist or a counselor, and then you bring it up because you just want to help women. But if you open it up and it goes somewhere that you ain't ready for, and that's what people don't understand, that when some of these wounds are opened, you better be ready, healthy enough, and in a position to handle what the outcome's going to be.
Right.
And that people don't think about that
at all.
That's why marriage sometimes can be like hell on earth, because they open up each other's wounds and they don't have the ability to close them up. And they're in this marriage and just like Uzis pow at each other, shooting all of this trauma and all of this, abuse and emotional torment and all these things. And they're just getting worse and worse because no one's there to help fix this stuff. Because most men in marriage is this our business, it stays in this house and we don't talk about it. Most of all of our clients, when we do marriage counseling, which we've done thousands, it's mostly the woman who initiates the counseling.
Wow.
Every single time.
Why do you think that is?
The pride, the shame, or I'm a man and I couldn't fix it and I couldn't make it work.
Do you think that they sometimes have controlling problems and they don't realize that?
Absolutely. Both on both ends. That can happen on both ends, the control part. But when it comes to getting the help, unless that woman is about to leave them, they say no until they say I'm done. And then they all come. That's normally always the story. And I'm just like, wow. And then when they start getting the help that they need, they're like, man, I could have done this a long time ago. But they suffer because of the pride and the shame. And so many women think women are the only ones that go through the insecurities and the shame and the things that we deal with. Oh my God. When you're dealing sometimes with a man, it's at a higher level. And it looks completely different. And I've been around long enough to been in the game to be able to see it all. And there's not a such thing as she's just emotional. They just show it completely different. When you punch a hole in the wall, your emotions were out of control. If you hit your wife, your emotions were completely out of control. But we only talk about the female and their emotions. If he's hollering, screaming, and freaking everybody out, your emotions are out of control. If you get up and you leave the house and your wife don't know where you're going, you're out of control. And so we show ours in on a regular basis, women most of the time, but it looks different. And I always say, you can't compete with pride. You're going to lose every single time until that person understands it's pride and that they need help. Yep.
Wow. Wow. Thank y'all for sharing. Look, these numbers is going up.
Let me look.
These numbers
I
are going
was sharing
up.
this thing. Oh my God, history
Thank y'all.
problem.
This is real good, y'all. Wow. Like in that, like when we talk about control, because I feel like control is in a lot of things for people, especially when they're going through trauma.
Mm-hmm.
The control that is so evident, and like walking into situations and circumstances and wanting to control the narrative. Like, what do you say to that? Whether that is people in their marriages or seeing it in your church or just in general, how do you deal with that? How do you call that out?
Man,
Counseling sessions. Yeah.
how do you call that out? Wow. They got to first realize that is what's happening. And when you're sitting there with the two people, we're still talking about marriage counseling, it always show up one or the other. And some women like, I don't have a voice. They took my voice away, or I don't get to talk and express myself. Some men say that, you see? And I think about, even though I realize now it was control, but when I was younger and different things that I would do, it was more for survival. It was like, I got to keep this environment like this. I got to keep it this way because of where I come from. You got to make sure that things don't fall apart. And so you go into relationships or you go, and my thing was, I can fix it. I can make it happen. And so when you think that away before Christ comes in and heal those wounds, you will continue to do that because you won't even see the problem. You'll just keep on bumping into the backlash of it and the pushback from it and the rejection from it, when your heart is saying, I am trying to help you and I am trying to make you better, but that's not where everybody is, and everybody may not want that then. Do you see? And so you have to reach a place where I did was, I couldn't want it for you more than you wanted it for yourself. Because I was going through the hurt and the pain, I did not want another human to be hurt. But I don't have the ability to protect them from that. Because everybody in the world, you can be in the best marriage, in the best relationships, and still experience hurt. Nobody is exempt from it. And when you try to protect yourself, you put yourself in a prison cell and put all these walls around you to thinking you protecting yourself when you really have made yourself a prisoner and you're holding the key. But we think somebody else did it. Yeah, you
All right.
really
Yeah, like
think it.
we got a lot of I'm thinking, but we got a lot of married people in these comments. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, but I know Nina is. And it's a question I want to ask. And about that marriage concept.
Okay.
What do you say to partners in a marriage that feel like they're being buried under their partner
Mm-hmm.
in their stuff? It's them, 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 and none of them. You know, it's kind of like they got to put all of them before themselves, rather everybody before themselves rather than themselves. They're taking
Okay.
care of everything besides
Mhm.
them.
Okay. And because you guys are a younger generation, this is what I never say. If I am married, I am never addressing him as my partner. He is my spouse or I'm their spouse. The world, we don't know what they mean when they say partners. So I'm really just really like alert when I hear the word partner because who we
They
talking
changed the
about?
meaning. Yeah, they changed the
You
meaning
see,
for
they
that.
changed the meaning. And so
Yeah,
that's my spouse is sacred. It's still sacred. You
yeah.
see what I'm saying? And so what that is saying to me is we got two things going on. We got somebody dealing with self-worth and worthy issues, insecure issues on both ends. Because where I am today in my life, no one's going to dominate me and push me down and not allow the gifts of God to flourish in my life.
Mhm.
But if I'm insecure and I just need this person, I'm codependent on this person, then I allow them to do all of those things to me and keep silent.
Mhm.
But a person who say they love God and would do that to another person, then that's questionable. Because I should want you. My husband always say my wife has upgraded me. Meaning when I came into his life, I made him better. That's the goal. If I am a helpmate and I am there to be help, then why am I trying to take all of that away from him? If he comes to where it says a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and you obtain favor from the Lord for doing so, then why would you want to destroy her? And why are you jealous? And why are you so insecure that you the only one can shine?
Right.
So all of this becomes a God problem, you see, in how you view yourself. Because if I view myself whole, then I want everybody around me to do good.
Mhm.
And that's my reputation is when Dr. A gets involved, she gonna help you go to another level because I'm not in competition with no human. So me helping you go to the top is not gonna deplete what I got going on. And that's the thing that I say that I bring to that whole women thing where I really can help you shine without my light going out. I
That's
wish
good.
people really believe that.
That's
I
good.
really do. And so, yeah, that's what needs to happen. We cannot remove the God factor. When we see people behaving in these manners, it's a God problem and a history problem. Those two are always existing.
Mm.
So we can't talk about one without the other. That means I didn't deal with something. I still don't believe about myself what God believes. There's so many things that is happening. What is
It says your Dr. A, your husband is watching and he's loving it. You are shining, girl.
that?
I love that. I love that. I love that. I do. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. I'm gonna transition into another topic outside of the marriage conversation. Children.
Okay. Okay.
I watched you like with the videos that you put up with you and your children. So beautiful. I love
Oh,
you.
thank you.
And it's
Thank you.
like You tend to speak a lot about your children on your
Oh
social
yeah.
media, and I love that. But in that, how has being a mother shifted the way you view your own strength?
By watching them. I mean, when I think about how proud I am, and the sacrifices, and when I say gave all, what she said, God is at the foundation of it all. It's so good. When I think about having children,
Mhm,
I just knew it was going to be different than anything that I ever experienced, that I walked through. I remember my son being in the kindergarten, and he had a play,
mhm.
and I showed up a little late, and I thought he knew I was late. He was 5. And I cried like a baby, the thought that I wasn't on time. Because one thing I knew is I was never going to miss one thing they ever did in life. I've not missed anything. The only thing I've ever missed is when my son was so far away at school or traveling far away for basketball in college. But in anything else, never missed. I When I own my salons, I literally stopped working on Saturdays and everything, the busiest day of all beauticians' lives, because I wasn't gonna miss one track meet. I wasn't gonna miss one thing they ever did in life. And it's so crazy because they're fully grown, all living on their own, taking care of themselves, and I'm still not gonna miss nothing they do unless I can't help it. And that is like, if I'm with all of them, the 3 of them, and nothing else matters in that moment,
Mhm.
like literally. And I've always been that way. My husband was like, you can't keep giving these big time birthday parties and doing this stuff. What are you going to do next year? It's just like still to this day. And I used to always say, oh, I can't wait for them to get grown. No, I felt better and felt like I had more control when they were children. I knew where they were. I knew when they was coming home. I dropped you off. I'm picking you up. And the love just intensifies. So they're grown now, but it don't change you from feeling any of those feelings anymore. And I always tell my kids, none of them have children, and they will never understand until they do. The love of a mother, if it's healthy, there's nothing like it. And the letters that I get from my children, and the gifts and the things that they write and say, is priceless. Even when we having our bad moments, it'll still show up like, you the girl. My son say, you the superhero. And so it's just a breath of fresh air. And I have been privileged and honored to be their mom. Yeah. And my son Jay too, there's no human on earth can tell him he's not the most loved person on planet Earth. He believes it with all his heart. And he believes his sisters love him the same.
I
It's
love it.
crazy.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
shows like you instilled a love, connection, and bond between your
Hmm.
children and with you,
Hmm.
and that does say a lot. I in the future I strive for myself to be a healthy mother, to
Hmm.
children, but as well to have the character and integrity and compassion and love for people rather than what I can give and do for them. Because
Yeah.
I've seen that when you give and do things for children, it kind of misses what misses them having that relationship with God that they need to have. Because
Absolutely. Yeah.
He is love.
Hmm.
He has all of those things that make us be the people that God sees. Like you want to see God in people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm, like I say, what it say? Love your children. And most people, they love them too.
next question. There's a powerful spiritual concept of knowing when to give your children back to God. How did you personally navigate the transition from trying to control your children's outcomes to trusting God with their path?
I remember getting sick because when all of the videos was being shown with Floyd and all of the things that was happening to Black males in the world, I remember getting sick. going to the hospital, all of those things, because I literally had not given my son in that arena to God.
Wow.
Every time he left the house or I knew he was somewhere where I couldn't see him or be present, I literally made myself sick, hoping he would come home because of the fear that the news will inject inside of you if you keep watching that stuff. And I'll never forget, the Holy Spirit told me, he says, your heart can't handle watching stuff like this. Don't watch it no more. I have not watched the news in over 15 years. And I hear when people tell me stuff, and you got to be careful on Facebook now because it became the news, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh my God. But I never forget when I did the work and I got books and I really said, God, I trust you in this area, but I didn't trust you in this area, that I'm allowing this to happen to me because you are not causing it. I'm causing it. And I never forget when I gave my son, because it never was a struggle with my daughters, but I gave my son to God. And I remember when I laid down and I was able to rest and I was able to move forward. And you have to know, my children, even if I wanted to control them, they wouldn't let me. And so that wouldn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Are we talking on mom? Okay, okay, okay. That's your choice, your life, your. And so that's just the relationship that we got, that they can say all those things. We can talk about those deep things, and they're grown. And I'll never forget when I was a part of Gateway down in Dallas, and I remember him doing a message on when you transition from being a parent to an advisor.
Hmm.
And the advisor becomes when they invite you in for the information that they want. And I said, whoa. And it's like now you become sisters and brothers in Christ versus just I'm your mama. And so now you can't bogart or cross the boundaries. You have to allow them to be able to present those things. And then if they ask for your opinion on those things, you give it to them. Because sometimes when you don't, it's just going to be a war. It's going to be a war when they don't want you in those spaces. And people have to know the difference. When you're paying your own bills, I don't get to tell you what to do. Even though parents don't get it, but I don't get to tell you what to do. I don't get to tell you what church to go to. I don't get to tell you what to drive. I don't get to tell you who you get to date. I don't get to tell you none of that. I can not like it, but I don't get to control you and make you. I can't make you anyway. So let's keep the relationship healthy by not trying. You see? Yeah. And hopefully you raise them where they'll make healthy choices. Yeah.
What is one lesson your children have taught you about prosperity, like about being, well, prosperity, that you couldn't have learned anywhere else?
That my children taught me.
Mhm.
I think their prosperity is their confidence. It don't have to be money, right? It's their confidence and the way they are just go-getters. All of my children are their own business owners. J2, One Legacy. He owns the clothing line called One Legacy Movement. He's stressing the NBA players now, the NFL players now. He's stopped now. He went from designing the clothes, which he still is, but now he's styling them. My daughter Joy, she owns Beach Hours. She owns Satin Brass. I'm like, my daughter Tiara on Extension Addiction. Oh my God. Like they are like moving. And their mother, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I've never worked for anyone. And so just to watch them have the confidence, that's prosperity to me. And that no one has been able to stop their dreams. Not so much of the money, but just to watch it. They have just taught me that I didn't create scared children that was not going to step out and do what they knew what God was calling them to do. So yeah. So I learned from them from afar,
I
just
love.
watching them. Yeah.
What does forgiveness mean to you?
That is so interesting because I just had a conversation. I have been blessed to never walk in unforgiveness. I did it probably, let me take that back. Early on in my life, when I wanted my mom to do some things, I thought she should have did some things differently. And the way I responded to her let me know that there was some resentment or some unforgiveness for choices that I thought she should have did differently. And I'll never forget when I gave it to God. And now I talk to my mother almost every single day,
Were you able to
because
talk about it?
every single day, unless I fall asleep or I come home from church and I'm too tired. But because once I heard my mother's story, you see what I'm saying? All judgment was gone.
Mm.
Because when you hear a person's story and where they come from, empathy and compassion kicks in. And once I heard that, it ain't nothing my mom wants for that's in my spirit, to do that it don't happen. And she can be in a whole lot of places and live with, she got 9 kids. I'm the oldest of 9. But she be like, you gonna be there? And I'll be like, I'm the one that probably um is probably not the softest. Like one of my sisters, she's probably listening. Her name is Bina. I call her Bina, but her name is Mary. And she'd be like, Mommy, what do you need? Mommy. When they get around each other, I'm like, I'm going home. Because I'm not that one. I'm not the one that's gonna baby you. My
Mm.
baby. Oh, and I'm just like, we going to the grocery store. What we doing? What you need? What you need me to cook for you? You need me to this? And the other, she come in and be like, "Hi, mommy. Here you." I'm like, no. And so the relationship is hitting on 100 now.
So she has a different relationship with you all.
Yeah.
Meaning that she got the loving one, she got you that's just like, look, what can I do for you? I'm just gonna show
Yeah,
you my
what's
love.
up? What we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so she got 9. She got 5 girls and 4 boys. So guess what? They all different.
Mhm.
She can sit up on the phone with my brother and talk to him all day. She know I don't got time to do that. She'd be like, "You so busy, I didn't even want to call you today." I'm like, "Mom, for real." But yeah, and so she lives here in Kansas City, and the rest of them live away. But she wanted to be where I was because she know for sure that I'm gonna get it done.
Look, I heard that parents always know that one child is gonna take care of them no matter what.
No matter what. And so she may be like, "Oh my God, she said, oh God, Angel's always correct and she all whatever." But guess what? She know at the end of the day, it's gonna get done.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
what
So
you
yeah.
said something about empathy and compassion that kicks in. Do you think that that's a learned behavior, or do you think that's something that someone has?
Empathy and compassion.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times people have those two traits, but you can't see them because they live in such judgment. And they don't show up in people's life because they spend most of their time judging another person or walking in unforgiveness. When you're in unforgiveness, you will get sick. Your
Mhm.
hair will fall out. You'll be stressed the heck out. You are destroying your soul. Unforgiveness is real. I think I'm on my mama, your mama
Oh,
own.
shout out on Brooks.
And so it's like you got to deal with that to the point where God says, if you can't forgive the people you see every day, how am I going to forgive you? That's a serious statement. How many times do you forgive? 70 times, 70 times, 70 times. We can just keep on doing the math. That's an important thing that God talked about. You can't afford to walk in unforgiveness.
Well, sometimes do you think that, like, not even from the forgiveness piece, do you think that sometimes people they forget that it's a lot of things that we need to be taught, and when you're not taught how to nurture those
Hmm.
feelings and emotions, or how to
Hmm.
do that, that it could
Hmm.
hit you in life, like later on in life.
Yeah,
Have
because,
you-
but now humans are without excuse.
Mm, true, true.
Everything you want to know in the world is at your disposal. It was a time where we didn't have nothing. And only where we can do is secretly go to somebody's counseling session and didn't want nobody to know, especially the African American community, because we thought it meant you crazy. You see what I'm saying? And so the hiding and the secrets that we kept because we didn't want to go appear that was something wrong with us, even though it was. And so, absolutely, what you said was a true statement, but you are without excuse now because you no longer can say that you don't have access to information and to help. Now, the goal is, would you allow someone to get close enough to you to lead you to the water? You see? And so now, if you don't want the help and you reject the help, it's you.
Right.
We can't keep blaming people. I couldn't continue to blame my mother or father for something that happened in my childhood now that I'm an adult in Christ. It's like, how long would that be the excuse for the reason that you're still the way that you are?
Yeah.
When you have a blueprint now,
That part.
a complete blueprint that lays it all out for you. So all of the things we used to do, we can't say that stuff no more.
Right.
If
And
you're not getting help now, that's you chose not to.
we can't also we can't be instilling it in our niece and our like can't be making those excuses not to instill it into our niece, our nephews, or I'm not a
Mhm.
grandmother, or our kids or
Mhm.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Teaching them now how to be
Mhm.
good people to people. Because this world is a horrible world as it is, like with different
Oh
things
God.
going on.
Mm.
Start teaching them how to be good people, nice people, loving people, caring people. And sometimes it ain't just enough just to be like, let me just put them in church. That's nice and all, but be the person
Mhm.
that also teaches them to have integrity and character, because
Yeah.
that will take them further than what grades they have or who they connected to.
Yeah. Because if not, you're going to recycle the generation. That's a scary thing right there. When you recycle the pain, this person wasn't born into pain, but because they're spending time with you, now they're going to be in pain because you never got healed and you're going to tell them all your horrible stories and everything somebody did to you that was horrible.
That or
Instead of look, huh? What'd you
that
say?
or act it out. Some people don't even tell
Yeah,
their story verbally. They acting it out.
they acted out. And so you got to be bold enough when you have children and have people that you love when you're in Christ. Is I don't care who you are. Are they healthy enough for my kids to be with? I don't care who you are. And a lot of people are not bold enough to take that stand. My children didn't spend a night at places. They be like, oh my God, my friends are over there. You're not going. I'll be like, they got a daddy, they got a brother, they got a, all of these things. It's like, you're not going. And it's like they didn't understand it now, but the things that it protected them from. And I think about my siblings in a state that at one point my parents were in. When I think about none of us were violated because of what my mom had went through, and it was like, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't spending the night nowhere. It was like 10, almost 9 of us in the house where we needed to go anyway. We had a whole big old party in the game. And it's like, but my children didn't do all that. And now people's kids just anywhere because they need a break. I didn't get no break,
Wow.
because we have all these new moms having babies now, and nobody can take care of their kid now. They're overwhelmed. And they're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. We're talking about you just have one. Back then, we didn't have the help. We didn't have the help. We had to parent our children. Now, nobody can parent their children. And if you can afford to get help. Meaning, like, if you need nannies and need whatever you want, do that. But I'm just saying, you should not be so emotional depleted that you can't spend time with your children, and that you're going to fall apart because you have to be with them for a whole day. You know, and that's where we are too. That whole emotional piece where we can barely take care of one kid now. When we were taking care of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 back in the day. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's the younger generation. I be saying this all the time. I grew up, yes ma'am, no ma'am. this younger generation, and I see they disrespectful. I ain't gonna lie. I
That's
feel
an
like even
understatement.
though I'm 32, and I'll be like, you're disrespectful. Like you
No, that's an
entitled.
understatement. They have no honor. That's the word. They have no honor.
Because I'm seeing it's not even a culture thing anymore. It's not
No,
even.
it's like they have
It's
no
a
honor.
every. It's a every race thing. Because ain't
Yes,
no
every,
way.
yeah. They can be in church. They don't honor the leadership anymore. They can have parents. They talk to them any old kind of way. I mean, it's unbelievable what I see. Yeah. And they don't understand that they can't be blessed that way.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
All right.
Cannot.
You made me
Yeah.
feel spitting off pages of kids, pages of children, and have the kids come in and start talking about them stories. How can you be a better child? How can you be a
Wow.
better parent? That'd be real
Yeah.
good because people,
Yes.
it's needed. Um, I just have a few more questions and then we wrap up. We'll wrap up. Is that
Okay.
okay? All
Mhm.
right. If you could go back to the Virgin of Angel who was still writing in secret, what is one word of comfort that you would give her?
That God made you just who you were, because people painted a picture that it was something wrong with me all the time. And so I would tell her, you were exactly who God made you to be. That would be the exact words. At 20 something, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm like, girl, you better recognize.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mysia Harris, these are the children. Just saying. Michelle Rouse, they
They
don't
don't
respect
respect
themselves,
themselves.
so they can't respect anyone else.
True.
All right, next to last question. How do you stay grounded in your why and then the what of business and public life when it gets loud?
I am so, and when I'm saying this, I really need you to hear it like how I really mean it. I am so convinced that the Father is so in love with me and that I'm his number one girl, and that he made me so uniquely well that I will refuse to not finish the work and do everything to please him. Like that's what I truly believe. So there's not a what they would call an option B. There's only one option. There's only one, and that is A. And there's nothing else I desire more than I desire pleasing him. And when you completely understand your identity and you're rooted in him for real, things can come and people present all kind of things. And I always say, I'm already on track. I already know what I was born to do. So thank you for the opportunity, but I'll pass. You see? So you don't get all off when you are completely convinced that he is so in love with you. I write love letters to God as if he's writing them to me. I'll be like, I'm your girl. I woke up were you thinking about me today? Like for real. Like that's the relationship that I have with him.
Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
Last
yeah, that's what keeps me grounded.
That's good. Last question. Finally, what is one page from your life that you haven't turned into a speech yet or said to anybody, but you know will one day help someone heal?
When I write my book called Straight Outta Compton, when I complete it.
Okay.
Yes. So it's coming. I'm already on chapter 4.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Straight Outta Compton.
Wow. Okay. We about to get like
Yeah.
a memoir type concept or like a autobiography type concept.
Yo, yeah. It's going, yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Be looking out for that for sure. For sure. Straight out of
Yeah.
Compton, it already got a amazing title.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's the name of it. And I mean, like, yeah, because people don't understand how good God really is. And people forget sometimes what God has done and where you come from. And I don't believe that I can do anything without God. Like nothing. Some people can use their education. Okay, yeah, I got a DR behind my name. I got a PH behind. Okay, but I can't do anything without God. It means nothing. If the Holy Spirit is not leading and guiding, then what's the point? If God ain't in it, why would I show up? You know, I just, yeah. I get invited places and all. I don't get on everybody's platform just to be saying I was somewhere, because if I don't believe that that's what God is saying, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So that's where I'm
I'm
at.
blessed you chose to be on my platform. I really, I'm
Yeah,
blessed.
I was like, okay, who is this? Because you were younger. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay.
I
And so,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Oh, you're
And Miss
so welcome.
and
It
Miss
was my
Jimmy Smith,
pleasure.
thank you.
Ch-
And Miss
Chubby
Jimmy,
on here?
you still on here. I've been trying to get in contact with you to have you as a guest.
She be
Send a
playing
word.
games. She be playing games.
So,
Oh my God. How do you keep all of these things? They're gonna go away?
so they'll show up on YouTube. So when we're done,
Okay. Okay.
you'll people watch the video and it'll be in real time popping up. So it'll
Okay,
still be
cool.
saved. It'll be out there.
Oh,
Um,
okay, cool.
but before I do my outro, is there anything you would like to share or anything that wasn't asked that you'd like to share or any questions you have for me?
Well, I didn't know you before today, and I want to let you know how super proud I am of you. Like my middle daughter Joy is 32 years old, and I am so proud when I see young women walking in their faith and bold and courageous doing so. And I don't want to say anything else about me. I just want to compliment you and tell you how proud I am and that you're doing an incredible job. And
Thank
don't let nothing stop you from moving in that direction. And if there's anything I can do to help you, just you already know now how to contact with me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Byrd. I really
You are
appreciate
so welcome. You are
it.
so welcome.
And with that being said, I'm gonna do my outro. And after my
Okay.
outro, I'll play my music. You can feel free to exit. I do like to do a little dance. If you want to dance with me, that's fine. You want to exit,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
right. So we have just witnessed the power of a voice used for purpose. A huge thank you to Dr. Angel Byrd for joining us and sharing her incredible journey from page to podium, using your voice to ignite a movement. Her words are a masterclass in how our personal stories can become the spark of a global change. If today's episode ignited something inside of you, please help me keep the flame burning. Head over to YouTube, search for Persperity Podcast, Persperity. Hit that like button and click that subscribe button and click that bell. When you share these episodes, you aren't just sharing a video, you are helping to fuel a movement of perspectives and prosperity. Thank you for joining us, and I'll be back next Monday with a new guest. Until next time, mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Bye, everybody.
Joy Bird, that's my baby.
Bye.
In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we will take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Prosperity
Bye,
Podcast, where hope
everybody.
is found. This is
Bye.
Legend of